Let's do a deep breakdown into Crucifix. Now, don't worry, you don't have to be a master at straddle inverts to start working on Crucifix. But you do need to be able to do an invert on the floor. So if you're still struggling with getting your feet up and a straddle, then please go back, take the steps needed to work on those straddle inverts. You will need to work on your grip strength, your inverts in the knot, and eventually your inverts just holding on. Now, let's work on the first step to our Crucifix. Starting in between the tails, hands at about head height, we're gonna kick up into our straddle invert. From here, we're gonna crochet both of our legs up nice and high, toes up to the ceiling. Squeeze your legs together. Now we're gonna slide our hands down without letting go of the tails. Cross behind the back once. After you do that, they come into your armpits and squeeze. Clap your hands, arch, look at your nails. And now we're gonna straighten our arms out into a V. Not out to the side, you want them in front of you. Once you're here, we're gonna release our legs into our straddle. Your head might be close to the floor, but that's okay right now. Now, we're gonna sink our bum to the floor, keeping our arms exactly where they are. And you'll end like this. So you will notice that I have a silk tail around my neck. This only really happens when we are doing our Crucifix low to the floor. So don't stress too much about it. When you go up a little bit higher, it won't happen. I've never seen it happen. What if it's hard to sit up when you're in that straddle position? If you're having a hard time sitting up without moving your arms, you're going to practice it by putting a knot in, coming into our straddle invert. Okay. Now our arms stay in front of us. Here, we're gonna sink our bum to the floor. Think about arching your low back, feet come down, your upper body will follow. So I really want you to focus on sticking your booty out. Okay? When you stick your booty out, everything should follow. So if you don't have this mastered in the knot, this is the first step you should be doing, as well as working on your straddle inverts. Let's do it again. Arms out slightly in front of you. Booty to the floor, nice and tight. Everything will follow, and you'll end with your arms out to the side like this, your feet hanging down. Coming back to our Crucifix now, starting low once again, I want to talk about the steps. First is our double crochet. Now I do have a tutorial on the double crochet, so you can go back and look at that. But the most important thing here is trying to get your toes up to the ceiling. Your toes should not be beside your hands. If they are, you're likely going to be sliding down lower, and your head and back could be touching the floor, and we don't want that. We want to try to stay as high as we possibly can. So we're doing our double crochet, trying to get those toes to the ceiling. Now from here, we're sliding and squeezing our legs. Our hands never leave the tails. Even here, I'm going to crisscross. One hand can now leave it because both silks are in one hand. And now I'm going to grab it, bring it in front of my armpits. I always like to wrap my arms around the tails here. This is not a mandatory thing. You can just simply hold on and bring your arms forward. But I feel like there's more support wrapping your arms around the tail. Arms out in that V, legs come out into a straddle, booty out. I quickly want to show you what my arms are doing because I haven't been showing the best angle there for that. This is actually quite a hard part. Sliding our hands down behind our back because our legs might not have that strength yet to squeeze as tight as you need to in order to slide your hands down. So this will be challenging. It is okay. You've got it. It just takes some practice and telling your legs what you want them to do. But you do not let go with your arms. They slide down, down, down until they reach behind the back. I'm always holding on to both tails, even when I crisscross. When I let go with one hand has both of them. You will find your technique for that one. Everyone does their cross differently. Again, clap, hands in between, look at the nails, grab the tails, legs out, booty down. All right, now you've mastered it down low. It is time to take it up a step. We're gonna start with baby steps when we do our crucifix because we still don't know the exit. But I want you to try to do the straddle invert now in the air. So we take one climb, whatever climb you want. I'm gonna do Russian. We're gonna do our straddle invert with our legs in between the silks. Crochet, squeeze, wrap. Armpits, wrap the arms, legs out, and booty down. And you can see I'm still touching the floor. This is where I start getting those armpit burns. So you want to keep those hands lifted, and then you can bend them to slide all the way down. We still don't know the exit yet, so be careful with the armpits when you come down. The easier it is to touch the floor, the better. We've now pretty much mastered crucifix and we're ready to learn the exit so that we can go higher. So let's go over it. This part is where we normally find our armpits get burned pretty good. So I highly recommend a t-shirt or even a long sleeve shirt when you're training the exit. Before I go up in the air, I'm gonna break it down on the floor. So essentially our arms are wrapped around the silks like this and we're in this position. Our arms are in a V. Now, I want to avoid that armpit burn as best as I can. So I'm gonna bring my arms down, squeeze them together. I'm gonna take one leg, wrap it around like we do for classic climb, and I want that wrap to be as high as I can to my hands. Then from here, I'm gonna take my other foot, step. Once I'm stepping on my foot, I can then release my arms. And I'm gonna be in a classic climb with my shoulders in front. Then I just simply need to bring my shoulders behind to come down, or you can do this pretty little exit here. Okay? If my foot is way down here, really far away from my hands, then all this tail in between my hand and my leg, when I step, I'm gonna slide until this is no longer slack. So what that means is I'm going to get an armpit burn because I'm going to be sliding and burning myself right here. All right, so this is why it's important to wrap your leg high and bring your arms close together. Because if they're out like this and we wrap, okay, same thing, it's gonna be very hard to wrap high. All right, let's do it. A few climbs up. I'm gonna do a little spin so you guys can see. Woo. All right, legs out. My hands are really wide. Squeeze them together. Wrap high. Step. Release. I'm gonna bring my shoulders in front here so that cross uncrosses. And then I'm gonna have my shoulders in front. This is where you can lower yourself down, or you can bring your shoulders back behind and lower yourself down.